Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Hughes Pop from the Hughes Pop Entertainment. Rudy Gonzalez, my co-host. He's got his mic muted. On stage tonight, we're joined by 6'6", 442. He's the BigJay Bishop. Welcome to the show, my friend.
What up, my boy? How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. How you doing, man? I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah. Life is good, man. I appreciate you having me. So I'm glad we could figure this out. I just got back from Miami last night, so great loop out
Miami.
There. Yeah,
Miami. What you doing down in Miami, man?
Man, we did a loop with the ACW crew. That's Mark Henry and the Pope. Shout out to them both. Shout out to Mark Henry. Shout out to Pope. Shout out to All Caribbean Wrestling. Shout out to Reefer Mania, if you know what that is. Who doesn't? And we just had a great time in Miami, man. Just all
Talk about Reefer Mania. Was Matt Riddle down there?
No, man. I don't know who was and who wasn't. I can't confirm or deny nothing. So
I'll tell you a funny story. You brought it up, so I'll tell you the story, man. I was told to be, have conversations. I went to WrestleCon, River City WrestleCon.
Yeah.
My boy Matt Riddle came by my table. He talked a little bit. I went by his table. He had a candy bar open. It was his own strain. He's just popping those chocolate candy bars. And I'm like, dude, that's a lot, because I take 4 squares and I'm out. He ate like 16 squares, and I'm like, man, dude. But yeah, he's always in a good mood, so that's all right. So
yes, sir. Yes,
man,
sir.
I start this every podcast. It seems like a boring question. What was it like for BigJay, as a wrestling fan, as a kid?
As a kid, I was raised by a single mother. Same sob story everyone else has always had. Struggle parent. I'm a black kid from Chicago, and so my father was in a lifestyle that we don't have to go too deep into, but just went down the wrong path as a kid, and unfortunately the kids get the fallout of it. So single parent, broken home, moved around a lot, 5 states and 21 cities. By the time I was 10 years old, we lived in homeless shelters at one point. Shout out to Mary's Place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Mary Jo Copeland. Shout out to Rob Wills. They don't even know who I am, but that was one of the transitional housing, places that they have. It's like a long-term homeless shelter when I was like 9 or 10 years old. And, it was a lot of instability, a lot of kind of just, pushing against the grain coming up. But luckily I have a great mother who, did a really good job raising me and keeping me out of trouble as much as she can, despite some fights here and there, But I ain't never been arrested, never got caught. So just a lot of that, constantly being overlooked and being, I didn't have the perfect, white picket fence that a lot of people have. And I think it's one of the best blessings that was ever given to me in life, because, if Big 400 Jay Bishop did not have the struggles that I had, and if I did have the normal life, a lot of other people have, I wouldn't have that chip on my shoulder that I have today.
Wow. Yeah. Great story, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I dove deep and I didn't mean to, but thank you for that story, man.
Absolutely.
What were some of the wrestlers you followed back in the day, man, growing up?
Followed, Ben? Oh, who didn't I follow? I mean, Sting, Eddie Guerrero, the greats.
All right.
Yeah,
so, on the indie circuit, you're Big 400, Hustle Weight, Big Business Bishop. Which one of those names that I just said represents who you really are in the ring?
I would say it's a combination of Big 400, the Hustle Weight, Jay Bishop, because, coming up, or just who I am as a person, 400 is an application of who I am. The hustle weight is a representation of who I am. You know,
All right.
When I say I apply 400 pounds of pressure to every, 400 pounds of pressure in the ring, I do that in life too, because any obstacle, any barrier, anyone who's ever told me no, any time I've ever had the door shut in my face, or a gatekeeper told me no, I just applied 400 pounds of pressure and jumped the fence.
All right.
I'm either going through the fence or I'm jumping it, because, regardless of what life throws my way, it's either kill or be killed. You got to do what you got to do, because you're either going to, like, the way I think about it is like, and I know I'm kind of rambling here, is life's either going to be, you're either going to do the work, right, and succeed, or you're going to quit and fail. Both are going to be hard. So which version of hard do you want?
Right.
So I just apply 400 pounds of pressure to every single obstacle that's ever been in my way. And if it doesn't fold immediately, I just keep applying pressure, and I keep applying pressure, and I keep applying pressure until it folds. Everyone folds, everything folds, every circumstance, every obstacle, every challenge folds when you apply 400 pounds of pressure. So it's a lifestyle, and then the hustle weight just is, I'm bigger than, I'm literally one of the biggest people in the highest tiers of biggest people in the world. I'm 6'6", I'm 442 pounds. So I'm hustling more than anyone else in my weight class. Normally guys get to kind of skate by on their size, and I'm willing to still go that extra mile, as if I didn't have the physical attributes that I already have.
The guy asked me, he just told you, man, he's big, 6'6", 442. He's BigJay Bishop. So, no, so what you just explained, would you say that is the BigJay experience, BigJay Bishop experience when you're in the ring?
You never know what you're going to get. It's always different. Sometimes, a lot of times I walk in the ring and it's sweet. There's a lot of people who play dress up wrestler, not everybody goes to the Texas Wrestling Academy with Rudy Boy Gonzalez. So, you see a lot of times when people step in and they ain't seen the inside of a gym in 6 months, they couldn't even draw an elliptical if they had to describe it to a sketch artist. So, a lot of times just you don't find a lot of competition that's just in my level, if I'm being honest. And I say that humbly, but sometimes I'm a bulldoze through people. Sometimes I think people that, there's people that think they can go toe to toe with me, and they find out the hard way. It's just luck of the draw, man. You never really know what you're going to get.
All right. Rudy, man, do you have a question for our guest?
So we just heard basically 2 promos, and that's fine, man. He's promoting himself, and that's what I like about, he called me one day about doing a show, and actually it was Elliot that messaged me about doing a show, and he came with them, and Jay's attitude, the way he carries himself, his demeanor, professionalism, everything was, I was impressed. And I told him afterwards, even though he broke my furniture, my chair, I told him, anytime, man, you're more than welcome at my place. Just, and he's called me a couple of times about doing, at the last minute, and that's not a problem, man. I'll always have a place for him at my place. So tell me since you're so big, what wrestling school did you go to? What was training like for your wrestling journey?
I was too young, and I started way too young. I just had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, "When did you start wrestling? We've known you since you were a kid." And I said, I started training when I was 12, and I was just too stupid or too passionate to stop. So, a lot of it was uphill battles. A lot of it was me starting too young. You got guys that take advantage of you, hustle you, just different experiences. I never had a mentor per se. No one ever made a phone call for BigJay Bishop. I always had to go and get it the hard way. So, and that was good for me. Again, not having someone to make a phone call is what made me outlast. It just proved that I was built to last. And now here I am in my mid-20s, and I'm far better, far superior, obviously, when you check my track record. International wrestler, East Coast, West Coast, everywhere I done been, everyone I done beat, especially Quincy Elliott, because I know he's watching. Trinell, and he's a hater. Hater. But he it just is what it is. So I started training under Discovery. Discovery was a lucha legend in a way. He wrestled in AAA in the 1990s, and he was a really big innovator to high flying. I used to walk 8 miles one way and 8 miles back, so 16 miles round trip, 3 days a week to train lucha libre in Elmhurst, Illinois, where nobody spoke English, and it was just a lot of watch me. And then it was very slow because of the language barrier, and I just stuck with it. And it was more so what Disco did is he helped me really get in shape. He helped me learn the ropes. He helped me learn the fundamentals of ring movement and athleticism, and and just conditioning and speed. And the way he trained people was really like a drill sergeant, because it was very technical. There was a lot of shoot training in there. And eventually, the company that he was training under moved their training location to Villa Park, which was 20 miles away, or much further, however much further it was. I just couldn't walk it. I was like 12. And I found out that one of my neighbors, this is literally God. God has opened up doors every single step of the way. And I found out my neighbor was a guy who had just started training and wrestling at another school that was 8 miles in the opposite direction. And he was like, hey, come out here. And we started going to that local indie school. And I trained there for a while. And then, after a while, I moved out of Chicago area, and, we moved around a lot. Found another school, was there. It was kind of one of those places where if you leave, they're not, it's just, they're not going to push you once you leave. They're, some schools aren't Texas Wrestling Academy where they're trying to push their guys out. I don't know if you guys see how many of the TWA guys just went and did the AAA shows for Texas Mania. But, BigJay Bishop didn't have a trainer like Rudy Boy Gonzalez, to help me. So they actually tried to inhibit people and prohibit people from working once they got outside of that rule. So it was just a lot of uphill battling. And now at this time, I'm 17 years old, trying to break into the Wisconsin scene and just do whatever I can get and get whatever I can get. Until I met this guy named Will Powell, rest in peace. And he ran Main Event Wrestling in Wisconsin, Belgium, Wisconsin. And that was the guy that was the first person to give me consistent dates month after month, with the opportunity to hustle. And he paid me and treated me well. And, him and Lisa were just amazing. And a lot of what they did helped me branch out into other things, because I was able to get my reputation built back up. Because when I left the other school previously, they did the gimmick where they deleted everyone's matches once they leave, and I left and I didn't have anything. So I just had photos of me in the ring. And so that's what my training was kind of like. From there, I've had plenty of mentors and coaching along the way. Just since then, 10 years later now, I'm 27, and I'm very blessed to have learned from some of the great minds that I've been learning from.
So now you mentioned the name. I don't want this name to get dropped and missed and forgotten about. You mentioned the name. You're pretty agitated about this name that you mentioned, Quincy Elliott.
Yeah, Trinell. Screw you.
What's some interactions you've had with Quincy Elliott, Trinell, whatever the name is? What are some of those interactions you had? And if there's anything you need to get off your chest, feel free to get it off your chest on a huge pipe.
Okay, because the thing about him, and we're not going to make this podcast about him, but long story short, the thing about Trinell is he's another 6'5", 400-pound wrestler that's agile, and he thinks he's better than me. He thinks that because he's been to the WWE system, he's a bigger deal than me. And me and him have literally wrestled in multiple countries and multiple states and different time zones and continents. And Big 400 has pinned him in every single time. And somehow he just keeps making excuses. I don't know what it is, but that's really what it is. I mean, we just got pitched to do some stuff together coming up soon. And, if he wants to get exposed again, I'll take the check. Just cut the check.
You ever get down to Florida?
I just got back from Miami. We just did a loop in for All Caribbean Wrestling with Mark Henry and Elijah Burke, the Pope.
All right.
So we did that in Reefer Mania, yeah.
I got to give a shout out. My boy Adrian Whispers on here. He runs a promotion called Extreme Impact Wrestling.
Awesome.
XIW, man. They go to Extreme, and that's some pretty intense stuff. So I don't know if you ever heard of the names Jackson Slade, Damian Wayne, Wardell Walker. Those guys they travel over in Texas area too. So I didn't know if you knew those guys, but
Yeah.
Let's talk about your NCAA football.
NCAA football. Man.
Not the game that you play on the Xbox.
Not the game. Your boy actually played football in college for a little bit, right before COVID shut it all down. No, that was just believing that I can do whatever I want to do. And I when I got myself in college, despite the odds and adversities that I faced in life, and managed to get on a good team. And it was some great experiences. I learned a lot of good lessons. I had a lot of great coaches that pushed us to be better men and better athletes. We had a lot of really good opportunities to learn and adapt. I took that and developed that once I moved to Texas into getting a professional career in arena football, where I played in the AIFA. And I had some amazing coaches like Malcolm Goins, the #1 pass rushing coach anywhere in professional football. Stamp that. And Darrell Williams, who's a former Buffalo Bills and Carolina Panthers player. He's played in some NFL, or he's actually played in Super Bowls. So you can't really get much better coaching than that. I owe those two guys a lot to help develop me into the athlete that I became when I was playing professional football in the AIFA.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Man, since you mentioned Super Bowl, who's going to win that Super Bowl?
I don't watch football anymore. I'm locked into professional wrestling.
All right. Rudy.
Hopefully the Cowboys. Yep. If not the Bears, that's where I'm from. But I heard they're in the running.
Man.
Yeah. Rudy, got anything?
I think they played Green Bay. Yeah, the Bears played Green Bay yesterday. I think they lost.
They lost last night. They lost against the Packers. Their quarterback threw an interception in the end zone. So,
my goodness,
I lost money on that.
Where do you plan on going? Where do you plan on taking this wrestling? I know you've been to Japan, but what's the ultimate goal for you?
The ultimate goal is exactly what I'm doing. I'm looking myself in the mirror every day, and I'm saying I'm going to be better than I was yesterday. Wrestling saved my life in a lot of ways. That and God. So I just look in the mirror, and every day is me versus me. Where I would love to see it to be where I would love to go and develop it to is obviously to compete and prove that I'm the best and unstoppable on the biggest platforms all around the world. I've done it in Mexico. I've done it in Japan. I've done it here in America, and I'm ready to do it on national cable television as soon as them boys are stop being scared and give your boy a contract, pen to paper.
So you went undefeated in a tour in Tokyo, Japan.
Never lost, like LeVar Ball.
Never lost. Okay. Can you talk about your tour in Tokyo?
It's a good time. Beat everybody as expected. Won matches, got paid as expected. Came back with the Ribera jacket. That was a great time. My favorite thing about Japan was the legacy and the history behind the Ribera Steakhouse brand. I ended up going to both locations while I was out there just because of the history behind there. And it was kind of a surprise because they had seen some of the stuff I was doing, or someone was talking about it, and I was the only guy there that night out of the group of guys that were sitting there that got one.
Nice. What about this Loco Underground? Can you talk about that? Can you talk about some of the competition you faced and what some of the biggest names you faced and beaten in that Loco Underground?
Loco Underground was a professional wrestling organization that was run by Lowrider in Houston, and we had some great rivalries, some great competition. It's now rebranded as Extreme Factory, and I would say Lowrider is probably one of the top, competitors that I faced there. Obviously not Trinell, and obviously Big 400, Lowrider folded under 400 pounds of pressure. It's on film. Go look it up. And last time we were there before they rebranded.
Okay. So you've been around the world, man. So there's all kinds of fans I'm sure you came across.
Yes.
So what kind of crazy fan interactions have you experienced in your time in the independents?
What haven't I experienced? Someone got my phone number once, I don't know how, and called me a bunch of times, and they kind of started harassing me. So I had to, set them straight. We're not going to talk about that because I used some language that I don't. This is live, right? Can't be edited, so we're going to skip that. Honestly, for the most part, professional wrestling fans are amazing. They allow us to do what we do. Yeah, you got bad apples everywhere you go for any sport, but the true believers, the true people who keep it 400 24/7, because I don't just keep it 400, the fans keep it 400. Those are some of the greatest people. We're like a gang, and so they just show me love everywhere I go.
Do you transition? I mean, are you BigJay 400 always? Is that what you live? Do you stop being J400 when you're not wrestling?
I'm me. There's no character.
Okay.
I'm me. I keep it 400 all the time. I'm gonna tell you what I think, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If we compete, I'm gonna run over you and run through you. And if you think otherwise, I'll show you wrong.
Okay. So who are some of your biggest
Question for you?
What?
Question for you. Name one super heavyweight better than me.
Super heavyweight?
Yeah, anyone.
Nah.
Obviously, the top weight class is super heavyweight. Don't get bigger than that. So Big 400 Jay Bishop's in the top of the top creme de la creme of all of the weight classes. So I'm saying, name one super heavyweight that could pin BigJay Bishop.
I don't know of one, but I have a guy that's from Chicago.
Okay, who? I never heard of him.
He wrestles.
The only one that comes to mind for me is Bigelow. But Bigelow is no longer with us.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, Rudy, because we had I just did a podcast a week ago, and they told me Jonah, Moose, Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader. I'm bigger than all of them.
What about all
give me Prime Vader, I would have whooped that boy.
What about Oba Fabi or what's his name? He just
bro, look. The thing is, you got people who get up there and they get comfortable, and it's more about creating longevity for themselves. If you put someone like Obafemi in the ring with Big 400 Jay Bishop, he's going to fold under 400 pounds of pressure because only one of us is willing to die to make a point.
Okay. No, the guy that I have in mind, he's on the independent scene. Look, I mean, he wrestles for Extreme Impact Wrestling. He's from Chicago.
Has he been to Mexico? Has he toured Mexico?
I think so.
He has? Has he toured Japan?
No.
Big Sal Del Torre.
Big Sal Del Torre. Look him up. I'd love to see you come to Panama City Beach and face
BigJay Bishop ain't heard of him yet, but if he wants to try, I cash checks to expose people. Right. The fact is, bro, a lot of people don't want the match. The majority of people do not want the match with Big 400 Jay Bishop because they don't want to get exposed. They're just not built for it. They want to keep their persona. They want to.
I'd love for you to cash a check in. There's this guy that's he's in my. I can't. He frustrates me. His name is Suge White. Look him up on Facebook. He's this big white gangster thing. He wrestles down in XIW. I give him shit all the time. Come down and kick his ass for me. Get rid of
the gangster. If he steps in the ring with BigJay Bishop and he sees himself looking up. Yeah,
that's fine for me, man.
You might try to go toe to toe, but you can't see eye to eye, and you're gonna get exposed real quick. The outcome's the same every single time. 1, 2, 3. You looking up at the lights, flashing, and then you saying, "What happened?"
Yeah. Well, I'd love you to cash in that check, man. That's all I'm saying. Come down to Florida.
I'm there.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Rudy Gonzalez, man.
For some reason, you guys are breaking up on me, but I'm trying to keep up. What do you got? What do you have coming up in the next couple of weeks before the year's over? What do you have coming up next week? Did you get that? What do you have coming up next year, BigJay?
Next year or next week? In the next week, Big 400 is at SOAR Championship Wrestling in the Dallas, Texas area. Rest in peace to Sir Mo Bobby Horn, one of the greatest to ever do it. One of the best mentors I ever had. Over the last year of working with him was a great mentor for me. And so we're going to go make a return and make a statement, at SOAR Championship Wrestling. And then in the coming months, we have Reality of Wrestling. We have All Caribbean Wrestling. We have the Love Alive Jacksonville events coming up there. That's one of my favorite events to do because we get to go together and feed the homeless. It's obviously near and dear to my heart because as a kid, we experienced it. And so I know what people's situations are. And I know some people just need an opportunity to get a hand up. And at the Jacksonville charities, right, for the Love Alive charity, we get together and we get some of the best professional wrestlers from all around the world, all around the country, Big 400 Jay Bishop included. And we raise money to hand out food to the homeless. They go and they buy hundreds and hundreds and thousands of Whoppers at Burger King and hand them out to people all around Jacksonville, Florida. It's one of the best events you can be a part of. And so if you guys got a chance, if you're anywhere in the Jacksonville area, check that out. January 10th, Big 400 and Big Bobby Lee are challenging for the #1 contendership to the Love Alive Tag Team Champions. And then we're going to go out there and whoop them Russell twins, DRT, more like DR Beat after Big 400 makes them fold. And that's a great thing that we do. So I'm really looking forward to that. I got SOAR. Let me just think off the top of my head. SOAR, TKL, Coliseo, Extreme Factor. I think I'd have to check my schedule for the rest of the month. I think I got 5 more dates for the month. I'm going to take off around Christmas and New Year, and then we're hitting the ground running, starting January 10th in Jacksonville, Florida, and then January 17th should be TKL at the Evolution Dojo. January 18th should be Reality of Wrestling. And that's what I can remember off the top of my head at this time. I get hit in the head a lot, man. I just hustle. I just check my schedule week by week, if I'm being honest with you.
So where's this on January 18th? What location is it?
18th?
Yeah, January 18th.
That's Reality of Wrestling, Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas? All right.
Yeah.
So I've been sitting and thinking about big men. And so I want to ask you about who's your inspiration? And
Me?
would Kevin Nash be part of that group?
No, I'm too young. I didn't get to see him work too much growing up. No, I have intrinsic motivation.
Okay.
When I work, I'm working to prove myself right. A lot of other people, they work to prove themselves wrong or prove others wrong. Right. I know that I got greatness in me, and I work every day to prove myself right.
Well, I hope people come back and listen to this show because you've been talking about how you've been talking positive, which you should because you are, and you've been just telling people, if people would listen, that your struggles in life have motivated you to do what you do.
Yeah, look, you're either gonna fold or reload.
Right.
That's the fact.
And you quit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
I don't fold, I'll reload. So anytime there's something in the way, I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to choose to not be a victim. And I'm going to choose to dictate the outcomes of my circumstances. And I'm going to make it happen one way or another, God willing.
Yeah, man. I thank you for that story, man. That just means a lot to me because I work with kids that either fold or reload. I love that. Can I steal that from you?
Steal it. I stole it from Dante Smiley.
All right, I'll steal it from Dante Smiley.
There you go.
So Rudy's had some technical difficulties. He'll be back, he said. So let's talk about the Texas wrestling scene. TWE, everything. Let's talk about Rudy Gonzalez. Let's talk about Texas opponents. Let's talk about what you learned.
Let's bury Rudy Gonzalez while he's gone. Let's do that.
Let's
talk about how, I'm kidding. Well, no. Go ahead.
So talk to us about your experience as how'd you meet Rudy? What have you had with TWA? The Texas wrestling stuff. What's been going on in that?
I'm not originally from Texas. I'm originally from Chicago.
Right.
And so, God had blessed me in business and whatnot, and we moved out here to Texas, and I actually played football for the first year and a half, and I played. That's where I played professionally with the AIFA.
Right.
Then I made my return to professional wrestling, locked in with a bunch of promotions, made my debut for local wrestling off rip, and then Big 400 just started expanding and branching out from there. You know, if you cut the check, Big 400 shows up. You know, but you got to pay me. You know, Big 400 ain't no average independent wrestler. Big 400, you know, if you want me to come out to Florida, you better get that flight, book that hotel, and cut that check. Because, you know, I'm at that point where Big 400 is international. Big 400 is the best. And can nobody whoop Big 400? And I prove that time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. You know, you don't even got to take my word for it. I'm telling you, I cash the check every single time. So Texas wrestling, though, has been pretty good. A lot of really great competition in Texas. A lot of really great promotions, a lot of really great opportunities for those who are have the hustle to take advantage of it. We've won championships. We've beat down opponents, and we got a really good schedule coming up for 2026. We got some new debuts with new promotions. You know, I've worked with Rudy's TWE. I've worked with SOAR Championship Wrestling. I've worked with Loco. I'm working with Extreme Factory. You know, just dozens of promotions around Texas. And the next step is to now start taking some of these inquiries to expand further throughout Texas. I kind of wrestle. I'm kind of consolidating some more dates in Texas because I have a habit of flying quite a bit. Like I mentioned, I just got back from Miami, and we did the loop there. And then before that, we were in a different state, and before that, I was in a different state. And before we hopped on this podcast, I just got a call, offer to go, and they're going to fly me out to go work in California. So Big 400 is kind of everywhere, but we haven't fully established roots in Texas because some of those opportunities for a lot of the local guys and whatnot, but there's a lot of good competition I've been kind of eyeing up, and some guys I'd love to get in the ring with. There's some really good promotions that I'd love to kind of go and prove a point at. I can name a couple off top, but one of them that I know, I just remembered, you asked about upcoming dates that we'll be debuting at, will be Combat Cult in McAllen, Texas. And so we're just kind of expanding in the Texas area right now. Yeah. I'd honestly have to look at my calendar, man. But no, Texas wrestling is some of the best, hardest hitting, most competitive and multicultural wrestling you can find. You get a mix of everything because it's such a massive state, and everything's bigger in Texas, including the level of competition, but ain't nobody bigger than Big 400 Jay Bishop.
So let's talk about wrestlers that have pushed you the most, that have helped you launch your career. Have you battles that you've been through that pushed you the hardest?
Everybody's folded under 400 pounds of pressure. Ain't nobody whooped me yet.
All right. Nobody pushed you hard.
When I was younger, there was one guy who's one of my best friends. He's retired now. His name was Ian Onyx. Okay. Him and I traveled quite a bit together, and we had a little bit of a friendly rivalry. I think we've probably had close to 100 matches against each other alone. Ian Onyx was like a big brother to me when I was a kid. As we were going and working, towns, just driving every weekend. And, he pushed me a lot as a young man because he gave me some big brother advice. I'm the oldest in my siblings, so he was kind of like the big brother I didn't have in a lot of ways, where he looked out for me and helped keep me out of trouble in some situations, taught me how to be diplomatic and political when you're dealing with the toxicity of professional wrestling, So one of the best things he kind of helped me learn at a time is like, hey, why are you going to focus on the politics and the egos and the nonsense of where you're at now when you're going to be on national TV one day? Don't get caught up here. These guys get caught up in this nonsense because they're not going nowhere. You got to stake in the equity. So, he pushed me a lot. And, one thing for him, especially when I was, when he was still wrestling actively, he would push me to make sure I stayed in the gym every single day. So that's one person I would say is one of my best friends, and I owe him a phone call. Actually, it's been like a week since we've talked. So, but we still stay in frequent contact to this day.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
If you had to book a dream match, who and where?
Big 400 versus Big 400, the unstoppable versus the best, of course. Okay. Can you clone? Do we have cloning technology yet?
I don't know, man. We have AI. We probably could.
Yeah, I mean that would just be an infinite AI loop.
That's right. That's right. So, what's the biggest misconception that fans have or people have in wrestling about big men in wrestling?
I don't know. I'm not a big man. I'm a competitor. I'm a super heavyweight. I mean, you got a lot of big men out there that think they're tough and they're really soft when they step in the ring with me. You step in the ring with Jay Bishop and get exposed. That's why they won't. I told you earlier, they won't take the match. I don't think they have misconceptions. If anything, they have a misconception if they limit Big 400 to just a big man. I'm a competitor. Jay Bishop is an athlete. Big 400 is a super heavyweight who is mobile and can flatten you. I can run through you and break things in you that will never be repaired. And that's just a fact. So, misconceptions about, I think they're just about right on the nose when it comes to big man wrestling. You got a lot of guys who are good competition and, there's good levels of some good talents out there, but I'm not just some big man.
Okay. What legacy do you want to leave on the indie scene?
It's the legacy I'm working on building now. I'm showing anyone who's ever been overlooked. Listen here. If you've ever been overlooked, if anyone's ever doubted you, if you have ever doubted you, if you ever thought to yourself, man, I can't do this. I'm not built for this. I can't achieve the things that, I would like to achieve in life. I want you to apply 400 pounds of pressure every single day. Even when you don't see progress, just apply it anyway, because eventually you're going to get that breakthrough. If you trust Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you use the strength that God gives you and you just keep applying pressure, you're going to see breakthroughs. And so if there's one legacy that Big 400 Jay Bishop can leave through this professional wrestling career, is that if you trust in God and apply pressure, you walk by faith, you absolutely will see breakthroughs. That's what applying 400 pounds of pressure is. I told you, we're like a gang. You go to some of the fans of Big Jay Bishop and you criticize us, you're going to get jumped. And that's not on me. I didn't tell them to do it. It's just, it is. Because, and they're like, Jay, you're talking about people getting jumped and you say you're a Christian, that's not very Christ-like. Listen, if you ask me, Jesus was a gangster. Okay. I'm just telling you, Jesus was a gangster. The Bible said he laid hands on people. Not all the time did it distinguish if he was praying for them or laying hands on people. So that's all I'm saying. Sometimes did the scriptures say he laid hands on them and they got healed. Sometimes he just laid hands on them and he flipped tables. I don't know. So
he did flip tables.
He said turn the other cheek, but what happens when they hit you again? How many cheeks you got to turn? So I'm not responsible for nobody's actions, but yeah.
No, 100%, man. I never looked at that like that, right? I was a youth pastor 10 years ago. Never looked like that. Look at that, like that's pretty. Yeah, I have to agree, man.
I'm from Chicago, so I walk by faith, but we might got to drive. Let me shut up. I drive by too. So I have one funny story about Chicago, man. I was visiting Chicago. And of course, we rented a hotel room, and we have an Indian lady telling me how we're to get to the parking garage. She says, "You go down there, you turn." I'm like, "Okay." So I turned, and I ended up in Lower Wackerly twice. Oh, okay.
Second time, I got the hell out of there because they're pushing carts with fire barrels at my car, and I'm like, "Nope, I'm gone." But that was my experience in there. But well, I like what you're talking about, your group, your fans, your fan base. And
they're not fans. It's more like a family.
Okay, so my question was brotherhood in the business. Is it necessary to have brotherhood in the business?
I don't know. I mean, I just keep it real. Some people hate on me, some people don't.
Okay.
Um, I respect those who keep it real.
Okay.
And if others don't respect me because they see me as a threat to their spot, or they see me as competition, or they think I'm arrogant or something like that because I'm a confident young black man. I mean, I really don't give a crap, because at the end of the day, it's me versus me, not me versus you. If you're competing with me, you picked the wrong competition, because you're going to lose. I'm not even focused on you. I'm focused on being Jay Bishop from 24 hours ago. So, brotherhood in the business, of course it helps, but you also have to keep in mind that not all the time does God have the same path for everybody. And sometimes people are just for seasons, and that's what that is.
Okay, so
but a lot of snakes now. Keep that grass
you ever hear the phrase that wrestling's fake? What do you have to say about that?
Okay, step in the ring with me and find out.
I
mean that too. Sign a waiver and find out.
No, my wife, she hates wrestling, but she loves what I do and she supports me. So that was a question that she has. But I got some shoot questions. You ready?
Go ahead.
Best burger you've ever had?
Best burger?
Yeah.
Bison burger.
Favorite city to wrestle in?
Houston, Texas.
What's one move you'll never take again?
No, but I don't take any moves. I'm 400 pounds. Who can pick me up?
Okay. Worst
I'm
bump
432 pounds. You can't. But no.
Worst bump you've taken wasn't supposed to be a bump. Never took a bump.
Second match ever. This I was a young kid. This dummy had me do something that he had no business having me do. I had no business doing, and just nothing was safe, and I ended up hitting my head on concrete.
Ouch. Steel chair or stepping on Legos?
I'd rather step on Legos.
Okay. Ring ropes or no ropes?
Doesn't matter. I'm winning anyway. Big 400 can't be whooped.
Your biggest win ever?
Every win's a big win. The biggest one was giving my life to Christ. But no, the biggest win, every win's a big win. If Big 400's in the match, it's a big deal.
Okay. So you talk about. So I'm just gonna say, let's wrap this up. I want you to give you the stage. I want you to be able to cut a promo on your next opponent if you have to. Get something off your chest. What are you gonna do? Who you have next? Let them know how you feel. Let the fans know where they can find you.
It doesn't matter about the next match. It matters about the ultimate destination. And the fact is, not everyone's built to last, but Big 400 is. And I've proven that night after night, town after town, fight after fight. If you want to follow that journey, go follow me on Instagram at the hustle weight. It's like heavyweight, but hustle weight, because Big 400 Jay Bishop out hustles everyone in my division.
Wow. So you have any crazy stories, road stories before we go?
None that I'm going to share publicly. I'll tell you off camera, off stream.
Fair. I'll take that. I'll talk to you after. Don't go nowhere after we close out of here. So, do you go to conventions? You reach out to your fans, or you just stay to yourself pretty much?
I show love to everybody who keeps it 400. Okay.
Fans pretty important to you?
Family is important to me. And if you keep it 400, you family. All right. Real recognize real. Fakes hate.
I'll stay in contact with 400, man. You better have you have my back, right?
Hey, if you keep it 400, you good.
All right. So let's talk about that phrase, right? I want to make sure. What is keeping it 400?
Listen, a lot of people say keep it 100, right? 100% honest. No, we keep it 400 because it's 400% 400 pounds of pressure to every obstacle in life. It's 400% effort in everything you do, right? And it's 400% confidence in every word I speak, move I make, breath I breathe. 400% in how much I love my people, right? We never keep it even one less than 400.
Well, huge pop family, huge pop entertainment people, huge pop from now on is going to keep it 400.